Good afternoon, everyone. Hey guys, this is Bruce Marshall from Simpler Trading with the nightly market update for Wednesday, October the 27th. And I've got the ES up on the chart here we're taking a look at. And as you can see, if you were not watching today, started out to be a pretty calm day. This is the overnight action here in the light gray, kind of choppy back and forth, not much going on. Open today, a little bit here, and I was looking in our bias room. I was looking at this, and I said, we're probably going to come back up here and tag this high, but I thought, we have a chance we either break through or not, and we didn't, and we really started free falling here into the end of the day. I mean, that was a pretty decent, it was a pretty decent move down today into the end of the day from the, from the high up here. So very sloppy, choppy action here. We call this the garbage trade because very, very tough to try to trade this thing, from a day trading standpoint or whatever, because if you try to jump in here and buy it here, for a bounce, you get your head ripped off here, and, you try to buy it here, for a bounce, you get your head ripped off and all that kind of stuff. So, you just never know, right? So it is best, and it has been best lately, to kind of leave this thing alone. Now, I've been doing a fair amount of short-term trading, smaller risk kind of stuff, and it's working pretty well. Still making pretty good money, but I'm just being very, very careful and very, very light on my number of positions. I've only got, a couple of positions on at any one time, and I'm managing them pretty closely and trying to just stay really, really nimble on what I'm doing. And if it's not something's not working, we just get out, right? So let's take a look at this. We'll stick on the ES, and because that's a good broad representation of the market. And let's go back here just for 5 days and just take a look. And as you can see, we were chopping, higher, higher, higher. New all-time high here in the overnight session last night. Or that was actually yesterday. The light gray was overnight session. So new all-time high. We ripped into that, and I had a target up there at 4,600. Again, this is ES. And we're only 10 points away, and we just, somebody pulled the rug out and went straight down, and we really have just kind of gone down since then. And we're racing toward our voodoo snow line here, which, maybe we get that in the overnight session and that holds, and we start working our way back up. That actually doesn't really matter at this point, because we have, what I'm waiting on is, the big boys report tomorrow. I'm talking about earnings, and we have Amazon and Apple after the close tomorrow on Thursday. So that's going to be a big, big factor in which direction this market goes. And let me just show you, we'll kind of continue this theme. This is a 5-day chart. Let's go out to a 20-day chart here. And you can see we've been watching this every week. I talk about this, we're chop, 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 then off this low here, low to high. That's a big, big move. 200 and how many is that? 250 something points, 60 points. And now we're in limbo. Where do we go from here? Do we keep going, or do we break and fall down? And to maybe get a clue, we look at a longer term time frame here. And as you can see, this might just be our normal kind of ebb and flow in the market. Sell off, bounce back, sell off, bounce back, sell off, bounce back, sell off, bounce back, sell off, bounce back. And maybe we do just keep going here. But as we talked about in last week's video, a lot's going to depend on the big names. We're kind of winding up here. We've got a handful more of the bigger names left, lots of earnings left. The tone of the market, and we're seeing, a lot of commentary about lower guidance and inflationary pressures and wage pressures and all this kind of stuff. Not good. And the Fed is also saying, that they're going to raise interest rates and, reduce bond purchases and all that kind of stuff. So with all that's not good for the market, but, we don't want to make a bet at this point just solely based on that, and say, oh, this thing's about to crash. Well, that's just a guess. That's, that's flipping a coin. We don't like to flip coins, right? Instead, I prefer to go on smaller time frames and try to stay nimble like we've been doing, and not, sit on our hands and have a lot of cash and wait for the signs, the signals to tell us something, right? So from here, we had this pretty solid downtrend was working, and we were targeting this thing to lower lows and lower highs and to come down here, to our fire line there about 4,100. The trend reversed right there, and look at all this green. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days in a row. One little break, and then the 9th day, and then here we are. So we are now above the snow line, so we could springboard off this and keep going. However, I think this might be limited up here, especially with all the headwinds that we're coming into, right? So keep that in mind. We can look at the same thing on the Nasdaq. Basically, we got the same scenario here on the Nasdaq. Very, very similar chart pattern. We're coming up to our snow line there. Is that going to hold or fail? Are we going to get through it? Who knows? But the way to play this again is to be, we don't want to gamble, we don't want to just guess. We need an edge when we're trying to make a trade. And until the charts tell us something, give us a signal or something, again, I think the best move is just to stay very light, stay nimble. If you get in a trade, limit your risk, with appropriate sizing and the trade structure itself. We can trade around some of these earnings names. That's always a crapshoot. We know that. That's a coin toss. We're right in the middle of earnings season, which really makes it a lot tougher trying to find good trades and good names. I prefer really to come in after the earnings report has happened, and then perhaps do some fishing there. But again, even that is pretty dicey right now with the way with where we are in the market and all that kind of stuff. So again, for those reasons, I'm staying light and nimble. And we'll see what we get. We should probably know something by this time next week, as we kind of start getting through the bulk of the earnings and kind of get the gist of the consensus overall of how the market's going to interpret all these earnings. So be careful out there. Watch your risk, manage your risk, be nimble, take profit when you get it, and live to fight another day, right? So be careful. So thanks for the time, guys. I appreciate it. Hope this helps, and I'll talk to you at the next update. Take care.
Without simpler trading, I could not have financial independence.
This is one of the best investments I ever made in my life.
It's helping me find consistency. It's one of the things that won me